The thing about Chelsea is life is never boring. Hey chaps, welcome back to properchels.tv, your one-stop Chelsea news channel. I'm your host, as always, Logan Blue. And in today's fun-filled episode, we get to chat about Nottingham Forest and do a bit of a match preview. Now, we're on a heck of a good run. Of course we are, especially after, the start to the season where we lost to City at home. And then we had those dreadful two matches against Servette, one of which, of course, we lost. But form has picked up enormously. We are not the finished article, of course. We're not the finished article. Enzo's only had the team for a little while, but we seem to be scoring goals for fun, and we are currently, at least before the start of this weekend anyway, the top scorer in the Premier League, which is brilliant. Not except because it's brilliant either way. But when you look at our defensive record, you kind of have to realize that it's a glass half full and a glass half empty all at the same time, because we are shipping goals for fun. Our defense, which theoretically is packed with talent, is just not up to snuff. It's just not, and I don't know what that is. I do kind of know what that is. I personally would play a 3, as in a 4-3-3 formation, as opposed to a 4-2-3-1 formation, which is what Enzo will play. And when I do my team selector in a couple of minutes, I'll show you a team based around that selection. But I think if we had 3 in the middle, whether we had Lavia as the third, is the logical choice. But certainly, if we have 3 in the middle, we've got quite a few choices in the centre of midfield. But if we played with the 4-3-3, we'd have more stability, right? And then 2 could be the deep lying 6s. 1 could be an 8, as in Enzo, which gets the best out of Enzo because he can thread through those balls to to Palmer and to the wingers, or up to Jackson in the number 9. But we're not going to play that way. So I just don't think our defensive fragilities will get better anytime soon. I understand what Enzo's doing, in that he's looking to play that attacking formation because he can then get as many attacking players in the team as possible. And obviously it's a game geared towards scoring, and the more players you have on your team that can score, the better. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to invert the left back or the right back, usually the left back in Cucurella, so that even though we realistically only have 2 players as deep lying 6s, we really have a midfield of 3 for most of the time. It's not always the case, unfortunately, and I just think if we had the third person in there, we could still invert. And suddenly we've got 4 in the midfield, we've got an overload, and then you get all those beautiful little triangles, and we beat the press, we break the lines, and we get to thread the ball through to the attacker. I'm a big fan of 4-3-3. But anyway, we're not going to be doing that. So as I said, I picked the team based on that. Now, Nottingham Forest are currently, at the start of the weekend anyway, are 11th in the table. Played 6-1-2, drawn 3, lost 1. Goal difference of 1. So then they're not exactly scoring goals for fun. However, what people seem to be missing about this team, because it's a team with Nuno managing it, and if you remember him from his days with Wolves, he's a very pragmatic manager, not as pragmatic as sort of a Sam Allardyce or somebody like that, but he is pragmatic. So he will play this game with a low block. So it's up to Chelsea to beat that low block, and I'm not sure whether we will beat that low block. Okay. I don't think this match is going to be the easy match that a lot of commentators online have been saying, because Chelsea are on a good run and scoring goals for fun. We're just going to put 4 past them. we're capable of putting 4 past them. But if you think for a second that Nuno is going to play a defensive line on the halfway line like Brighton did, that's like suicide ball. No, not a chance. It'll be a low block, and we have to pick the locks to be able to get in. And I won't say traditionally, but certainly in the last few seasons, we have struggled to do that. Although we bought very well, to be fair, we bought very well in our sort of tricky little winger type players. So they played together a long time. They've done a lot of training now, so they kind of can sense where each other will be, and they can sense how well they are going to play when they thread a pass down the wing, or inside for a quick 1-2 or whatever. So Nottingham Forest, in their run up to this game, they lost to Southampton away. Sorry, they beat Southampton away 1-0. They drew 1-1 in the League Cup, but then lost on penalties to Newcastle. So again, that's a tough match. Although Newcastle weren't in the best form early in the season, so they're probably a good time to play them, but it was 1-1. Then they played Nuno's old side Wolves at Nottingham Forest. They won. They drew 1-1. But then they went to Liverpool, and they beat Liverpool at Anfield. So anyone that thinks this is going to be easy should remind themselves of that result. Then they drew 2-2 away to Brighton, and Brighton, of course, are a good solid team who will probably finish, several places higher than Nottingham Forest come the end of the season. So again, good solid result. But then they lost at home to Fulham 1-0. So it's a mixed bag, right? But the interesting thing with Nottingham Forest, even though they're 11th, and they've only got a goal difference of +1. They've scored 6. They've only let in 5. So they're the 3rd best defence in the league. So make of that what you will. Chelsea have the best attack, and Nottingham Forest have the 3rd best defence. Like if Chelsea had the 3rd best defence and the most goals, we would be top of the table, right? As opposed to 4th, which we were at the start of the season. So let's jump into the team selector. This is pretty straightforward because I think we know this is a nailed-on 11, more or less. I've got one position that I've changed from the regular lineup, our regular sort of A-team lineup, as it were. But let's have a quick look at that. Our defence is reasonably locked down. Cucurella on the left, Colwell, Fofana in the middle. I was tossing up putting in Tosin in the Fofana role, but he's had one good game, one so-so game, so I guess Fofana is going to get the nod, and Gusto on the right, of course. Fernandez and Caicedo, rather, in the centre as the 6s. That's pretty straightforward. As I mentioned, I would actually play with 3 in the middle, but we're doing the inverting left back instead. Then Palmer in the 10, obviously our best player by a country mile. Sancho seems to have made the left wing his own, which is good. I really like how he connects with the rest of the team. I like that a lot. And talking about connecting with the rest of the team, I've gone for Neto on the right because of that exact reason. He connects with the rest of the team. He understands it's a team sport and isn't all about the glory for himself. Happy to score a goal, but just as happy to assist, which is the same with Sancho. And up top, of course, Jackson. Now, Jackson didn't score last game, but made some brilliant runs, got in the right positions, didn't finish, got an assist. A solid 7 out of 10. But, I suspect he would have liked to have scored a goal, of course, because, what striker doesn't? And he was a bit grumpy when he came off, which I quite like, because, you want the striker to be a bit grumpy when he doesn't score, because that will motivate him to do better the next time. But yeah, my prediction here is kind of, I'm saying it's going to be a 1-1 draw, which will temper this, we're title contenders bollocks that is going around the internet. We're not title contenders. We are top four contenders, and you may remember at the beginning of the season when I did my preview, I said we were going to finish third. I still stick by that. I think we're going to be the third best team in the country because we will surprise people as the season goes along. We have started to get ahead of steam much earlier than I was expecting, which is great. So we are already there or thereabouts for that fighting for the Champions League position, which is great. But if we win this game, and obviously I want us to win this game, if we win this game, then we go into the international break, or probably still in fourth, given the results of the rest of the weekend. But it's a great position to be in because we've got momentum, and that momentum really, fills us with hope, and all the players will be, buzzing to come back after the international break. However, I suspect that given where we are in the Enzo Maresca process, I think Nottingham Forest will just be a tough nut to crack, and it'll be a grinding 1-1 draw. Now, that being said, if we get the first goal, then Forest have to open up, right? Which gives us more chance to play the Chelsea way and counter-attack and pick them off for a second to finish the game off. Because I could see this as a 2-0 for Chelsea, I really could. But I just suspect that we'll ship an early goal. It'll be Sanchez again, just being Sanchez. And giving away the lead, and then Chelsea players get grumpy and suddenly they're playing in third or fourth gear instead of second, and we score, but then Nuno just shuts shop, parks the bus, and we just pass the ball sideways back, cross the ball, they clear it, they're a big team. So my prediction is a 1-1 scoreline, which will still mean we've had a very good start to the season. But of course, obviously, I'm hoping we can, if not pinch, I'd happily pinch a win, like a lucky 1-0 win, like a Bournemouth, right? But it would be great if we could have a commanding win, right? That would, really a statement win. That would make everybody take us seriously, moving forward, because we're obviously not just a one-trick pony then. A couple of good results and people say, yeah, whatever, one swallow does not a summer make. But yeah, so I think a lot is riding on this game, even though it's only 3 points. I think a lot is riding on it, because if we do win, our tails are up and our momentum, is definitely with us, and we can go into the break feeling, good about ourselves. If it doesn't, I think it'll just kind of pop the balloon a bit, deflate the air. We'll just sag a bit. And then we have to build that momentum up again. So yeah, here's to a win, but I'm predicting a 1-1 draw, I think. Okay, thanks guys.
Okay then, that's all the news that's fit to print, and quite a bit that isn't. As always, thank you again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and God bless, look after yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.